Welcome to a better community. I got something that I want to talk about today, Martin Luther King Jr. and becoming the best version of yourself, guys. Hello, it's Troy Lewis, and I just want to say happy MLK Day to my community. Today we dive into something that's deep in life and legacy. One of the most inspiring figures in history, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now this dialogue is not just about honoring his memory. It's about learning from his journey, his dream, and his unshakable dedication to a better world. How can we use the principles he stood for to enhance the 5 categories of life when becoming the best version of ourselves? Spirituality, mentality, emotions, physical fitness, and finance. How do we embody his mantra in our living and living out our own lives? Our community motto here is, in everything you do, do it better. And no one exemplifies that more than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did. He didn't settle for good. He just pursued greatness. Not just for himself, but for everybody around him. So today, guys, let's explore his history, his vision, his lesson to transform ourselves and to uplift others. Now, from a spiritual point of view, faith has the foundation. Dr. King's journey was rooted in spirituality. He was a pastor before he became a global leader. His sermons were filled with faith, hope, and the belief that love is stronger than hate. He often referenced biblical principles, reminding people of the spiritual foundation needed to confront injustice and inequality. One thing many don't know is that Dr. Martin Luther King faced doubt and fear, just like any of us. At one point, he even wanted to quit the movement. But in those moments, he turned to God. And one night in Montgomery, during a bus boycott, after receiving threats against his family, Dr. King prayed and heard what he describes as a voice saying, "Stand up for righteousness, stand up for truth, and God will be at your side forever." How can we apply this? We must deepen our faith, whatever that looks like for you, and use it as an anchor in times of fear, in times of uncertainty, when you feel like giving up. Turn to your source of strength and ask yourself, how can my spiritual life inspire me to fight for what's right and become the best version of myself? Now, when we deal with mentality, guys, the power of vision and focus. Now, understand this about Dr. King. Dr. King was a master of mentality. He had a vision, a dream that kept him focused, even when the obstacles seemed to be unsurmountable for him. His "I have a dream" speech wasn't just words. It was a mental blueprint for a better world. Did you know he prepared several speeches for the March on Washington that day? The famous line about the dreams weren't originally planned. He improvised that, drawing from a deep well of clarity and conviction. See, that's the power of having a strong mental foundation. When life throws you a curveball, you can pivot with confidence. Ask yourself, what's your dream? Is it clear? Is it powerful enough to keep you going when things get tough? Dr. King showed us that a strong mindset anchored in hope and purpose can change not just our lives, but the world around us. Now, when we think about emotions, mastering love over hate, guys, I believe Dr. Martin Luther King was a master in this. He often said, hate cannot drive out hate. only love can do that. This was not just a philosophy, it was a practice. Imagine the emotional control it took to face mobs of angry people, threats, violence, yet respond with love and nonviolence. One lesser known fact about Dr. King is that he studied Gandhi's principles of nonviolence extensively. He believed that emotional mastery, choosing love over hate, peace over violence, was the key to real change. Now, this wasn't easy. He was human. Let's not forget that. He felt anger. He felt frustration, just like anybody else. But he chose to channel those emotions into action. How can we better ourselves emotionally? By mastering our responses. When someone offends us, can we respond with grace? When life tests us, can we react with resilience? Emotional mastery is about making choices that align with your highest self. Now, guys, when we look at Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy and we think about fitness, resilience in the face of struggle. Now, you might not think of physical fitness when you think of Dr. Martin Luther King, but consider this. The marches that he led often spanned for miles. They endured for long hours, harsh weather, and a physical strain of standing against hostility. Those marches weren't just symbolic, they were grueling. He and his followers walked under the sun, in the rain, and through hostile environments, facing fatigue, hunger, and consistent threats of violence on their life. See, that kind of perseverance requires a level of physical strength and stamina. Even if we don't know much about Dr. Martin Luther King's personal fitness routines, here's the connection though. When you're physically strong, you're more prepared to take on life's challenges. Think about this. If Dr. King and the people marching alongside him weren't resilient in their bodies, could they have shown up day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year? Physical fitness is more than an appearance, guys. It's about preparing your body to support the mental, emotional, and spiritual demands on your life. Let's also talk about nutrition. What we fuel our bodies with impacts how we feel, think, and perform. It's hard to stand up for your beliefs, or even to just keep up with demands on a daily basis if you're not constantly eating the right things. You will constantly feel sluggish, tired, unwell. Although we don't think much about Dr. King's dietary habits, we can infer that his ability to endure those long, demanding days required adequate amounts of energy and nutrients. So for us today, this means making intentional choices, eating foods that energize us, that keep us hydrated. That means engaging in regular activities as far as exercise, whether you're walking a mile for your health or for a cause. Being physically fit makes you more capable of showing up, not just for yourself, but for your community. Now, when we neglect our bodies, we limit our abilities to fully step into our purposes. Dr. King shows us the importance of showing up consistently, even when it's hard. Physical fitness and proper nutrition, I should say, equips us to do just that. So I need you to ask yourself a question. How can you prepare your body to endure the marches in your own life? Whether it's literally marching a long work day or standing up for what you believe in. Your physical fitness is the foundation for resilience in the face of adversity. Now, guys, when it comes to finances, economic empowerment as a tool for change. Now, Dr. King was also a strong advocate for economic empowerment. He knew that financial independence was the key to freedom. His final campaign before his assassination was the Poor People's Campaign, which aimed to address economic inequalities across racial lines. He once said, "It's all right to tell a man to lift himself up by his bootstraps, but it is a cruel gesture to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself up by his own bootstraps." Now, he wasn't just advocating for equality. He was advocating for access to jobs, fair wages, and opportunity. What does this teach us? This building wealth isn't just about personal gain. It's about creating opportunities for others too. Whether it's investing, starting a business, or simply learning how to manage your money, financial literacy is a tool for transformation. How can we use our finances to better ourselves, to uplift our communities? These are the questions that we need to think about, guys. Now, in closing, the call to action is here. Yeah, I have a call to action. Dr. Martin Luther King left us with a blueprint for becoming the best version of ourselves. He showed us spirituality grounds us, mentality focuses us, emotions guide us, physical fitness sustains us, and financial empowerment fuels us. But his legacy isn't just history, it's a call to action. How will you take his lessons and apply them to your life? How will you stand for justice, strive for excellence, and help others do the same thing? Let's honor Dr. King, not just with words, but with action, guys. Reflect on one way you can improve in each of the 5 categories of life this week. Commit to being better, because when you grow, we all grow. And remember, guys, in everything you do, do it better. And as Dr. King reminds us, the time is always right to do what is right. Let's go out. Let's make a difference. 52 and Better family. We got this. The dream is still alive. Until next time, remember, in everything you do, do it better.